Hi everybody. Welcome to the second ever episode of Stephen Hung interviewing some of my favorite Asian American musicians around Baltimore and Maryland. And last week we had Rahul, my friend Rahul, the Indo-Fusion guitarist. But this week I'm proud to have my friend who I know from bars, Eunbi Kim, or AKA the Angry Asian Jigglypuff. And I was wondering if you could describe me what an Angry Asian Jigglypuff is.
Yeah. First of all, thanks for inviting me to this. I'm really happy to speak more about my work and like we've seen each other at bars events and listened to your music too. So this is really cool. Being interviewed. Angry Asian Jigglypuff. I feel like angry and Asian haven't been two words that have been said together in most of U.S. history, anyways, and that's for a reason, right? Like the racial dynamics. Asians haven't had the longest history of having like a political voice and being angry about kind of like the disposition of being a wedge of between being the vital minority between black folks, the black community, and whiteness. So I wanted to be loud about it. Jigglypuff is an icon. I think a cultural icon from Pokemon. It's this like little pink fluff, and when it gets really angry, it sings. It puffs up and sings. Actually, whenever it sings, it also sings. It sings people to sleep. So the original intention was like, I am an angry Jigglypuff, who is ready to speak out about my opinions on my life journey, on politics, and be angry and sing all the oppressors to sleep. So that was the original intention.
All right, all right. So I guess as Asian Americans, we're all familiar with the blog. There's a famous blog for out there called Angry Asian Man, addressing injustices to the Asian American community. But now we've got an Angry Asian Jigglypuff, and then not only is this Jigglypuff vocal about her opinions, but she puts it through music and then sings about it too. So you're probably wondering, for those listening, well, what does the music of an Angry Asian Jigglypuff sound like? Well, you're about to find out. This first track that from Eunbi that I'm really digging it. It's called "Take Care," and I think I think this track it's really pertinent to this COVID situation that we're all in. Like some of us might be a little bummed out with the situation, what's going on. Like especially if you're Asian American, you might like be a little bit fearful of all the hate crime going on. But this track is a nice reminder that that we should all like once in a while like take care of ourselves. So this is "Take Care" by Eunbi Kim.
It's been a while. I've been in around, dragging the ground. No going back over these dreams. And it's been a while since I've given myself some credit for the hard work I've done lately. big divide in the stars. So I'ma take care of my baby, I'ma take care of my body, take care of my body, take care of my body. So I'ma take care of my baby, I'ma take care of my body, want them from me, and I take it. I'ma love myself, don't need no help, don't need no help. I'ma love myself, I'ma hug myself, I'ma be myself, don't need no help, don't need no help.
And there you have it. Take Care by Eunbi Kim, aka the Angry Asian Jigglypuff. Take Care. What a great, awesome track. So, Eunbi, can you tell me how have you been managing your quarantine during this time?
It's been, just taking taking the punches, like rolling with it, as much as I can. Definitely coping with music on and off. I think it's important right now. Literally, like our only job, I think, right now is to survive, stay alive, stay healthy, make sure that we're not active carriers. And so I've really been, I really have been, following that mantra of take care and being an Asian Jigglypuff and angry Asian Jigglypuff and singing it out whenever I do feel frustrated or take care of my mental health, like really reflect at this time. And like it's so important to take, I think, your creativity and to, especially at this time, to know your role, I think, and like really analyze what you can do right now, because there are many people who, there are many families right now who can't go to work and can't feed their families right now. So, like do whatever I can to contribute, but also like really like have deeper in reflection about like what my role is and moving forward, what this like just this era like it represents. I think it's a representation of like how capitalism is crumbling, like how the health system, the infrastructure is just like weren't there, or we like the states aren't ready because we don't have universal health care, we don't have enough even supplies, and the only people who can afford it are people who have the resources, who are rich. It's just very indicative of how broken like this country is, and that's because it's solely based on profit instead of people. So like really just reflecting so that we could be ready for this new era that's before us and coming after. I don't know whether it's going to get worse or better, or if there's going to be a revolution. I don't know, but I think it's a great time to reflect and be ready.
Yeah, for sure. Who knows if there'll be a revolution, if there'll be reform, but one thing that we do know is it's really important to take care of ourselves. So everybody follow the advice that Eunbi just gave right now, and then if you
ourselves and others, around us, we do occupy space in Baltimore, in this land, and wanna give back whenever possible, however possible.
Yeah, for sure. So take care of yourself, take care of your neighbors, take care of your loved ones, of your community, and especially during these trying times, for sure. So you sound like your answer to the last question, you sound like you use music as it's a therapeutic experience. Maybe music is how you take care of yourself. It's like some of your viewpoints, social and political viewpoints. Maybe you use music to express that in addition to prose or
Absolutely.
speech. Yeah. So can you tell me how'd you get involved with music?
Yeah. Uh, Music has been such a it has been such a therapeutic thing for like channel for my family. Like I saw just my growing up, um, my dad's a huge like he's a really great singer. He's not a he didn't pursue music, but he's won lots of competitions like back in the day. And I was originally born in LA, and there's this Korean festival every year, and he won some like karaoke. I love karaoke, by the way, my favorite pastime. He's
So
won
the
karaoke
typical Asian
trophies and stuff.
stereotype. No,
What was
just
that?
kidding. No, it's like, oh, it's this typical Asian stereotype. We all love karaoke.
I'm not gonna deny it because that's just my journey and my experience. I love karaoke since I was like 4 years old. I would beg my parents to go to karaoke to sing. I think back in the day to sing like old K-pop um, or what else did I like singing when I was a kid? Yeah, what else? My Heart Will Go On by Celine Dion when Titanic came out. I was 4 years old. Um, anyways, yeah. How did I get involved in music? It's always been like a way to that my dad conveyed his emotions. He's a very staunch person, or a stoic person, as like a lot of Korean masculine people are. Um, I saw that, and I've been singing ever since. I've loved singing in everywhere from church to that's where I started. I feel like singing, and I was also involved in band, orchestra growing up, and initially, like my mom did force me to join orchestra and band, but I really loved it, especially in my high school marching band, where a lot of I went to high school in Arkansas, and at Little Rock Central High School, they're one of the first high schools to integrate in the South, and it has a rich history of playing of having a really great marching band too. The marching band director was a HBCU director, so University of Pine Bluff, Mr. Meredith. I don't know if he'll ever listen to this, but yeah, he was a big influence, I think, in my musical upbringing, because we would play HBCU stands for historically black colleges and universities. So a lot of his music that he would make us play is a lot of soul R&B inspired, we played a lot of Jackson 5, Michael Jackson, Crazy by Gnarls Barkley, like all these, and some like rap songs coming up too. So like there's nothing like being in a band that plays soul music, and I was playing clarinet at the time, but I really I love the drum line and the tuba. Like I feel like I feel like those were a lot of the influences in my life. And growing up in LA, I think I heard a lot of R&B when I was really young, like since 3 or 4. Like I would creep into like my parents' room. They didn't let me go in there, but I creeped in just to listen to the radio of the neighbors, and it would be bouncing, like Janet Jackson or like 90s R&B music. So a lot of that has been my inspiration, and alongside like K-pop as well.
I know earlier you mentioned we discussed the genres of the music that you're into, like K-pop and R&B, but Okay, this sounds cliche, but list out your favorite artists and influences.
There's so many. Definitely, definitely Lauryn Hill. Been a big one. Stevie Wonder, Usher. This one, like K-pop band that was coming up. They were an a cappella group called Kongbangsingi or DBSK. Honestly, like they're very like of my time. They're very cliched, but they definitely kind of influenced my like style, melodic style. They were very R&B as well. Brown Eyed Soul. They're both soul, neo soul, gospel kind of groups out of Korea. So they've been really influential too. There's so many, you know. But those are some.
Yeah.
Thanks for yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I wanted to get that in, but yeah, definitely hear the Lauryn Hill in there, and then definitely hear a lot of nice R&B in the music. But of course, even though those are your influences, you put your own experiences, your own stories into it. You're using those influences as a vehicle to tell your story, which is sort of what this is about. Asian American Heritage Pacific Month. And it sounds like you've had a long journey evolving from the karaoke bars to church to your high school band instructor introducing you to R&B. So yeah, the moral of the story is we have Korean karaoke bars to thank for producing lots of fine talent like Eunbi Kim. And then so if you're so to all you Asian entrepreneurs out there, if you're looking to start a like a music discovery, an Asian American music discovery show like American Idol or America's Got Talent, the place to hang out is those Korean karaoke bars, and then maybe you might discover the next K-pop artist hang out there as a child. Who knows? But we're gonna play. We finally get to hear after all these influences and your musical journey and evolution. We get to hear another song that's a product of that, and then so this next song that I'm really excited to play, it's called Zero Zone. Zero Zone by Eunbi Kim, and then maybe you can hear some of the 90s influences, Eunbi's musical pedigree in this. But anyways, I'll stop blabbing. This is Zero Zone by Eunbi Kim.
Waiting to get far, far away from it. To galaxy all so clear from this oppressive state. We can create our faith, baby. We can rebuild a house with tools that oppressors refuse to use. And get up, babe. We can get away from it. No.
Explain me, make it hard to breathe. I turn the lights out and now I can't see. Glass ceilings, roll up the la, I finally feel it. Layers of onion to a struggle, never peel it. Affordable housing in the jungle, make a killing. Illegal alien, despite all my citizen. I should see a pigeon in the interim of an ozone. Wanna run away, but I really wanna go.
Forget history. Just still don't. Waiting to get far away from it. Galaxy all so clear from this oppressive state. Create our faith. We can rebuild a house with tools that oppressors refuse to use. And get up, babe. We can get away from it.
And ladies and gentlemen, you just heard Zero Zone by Eunbi Kim. But like Eunbi's musical upbringing, which is involved and went through a lot of transitions from the karaoke bar to the church to the high school band. I've done my homework, and then I'm Asian. I've got to do my homework. So I've done my homework, and I when I was researching Envy's music, trying to research the songs, I discovered Zero Zone. It's not just Envy. It's not just a name of a song, but it's sort of a concept that you came up with. I noticed you have a I'm part of your online Facebook group called Zero Zone, and then I know you've held a event at the Crown at Zero Zone before. So obviously it's some sort of a concept you came up with first, and then it turned into a song, or I don't know, maybe it's the other way around. Can you tell us what Zero Zone is?
Yeah, absolutely. I love Zero Zone. Kind of a shout out to all my Zero Zone comrades. So it was originally a group of Korean Asian American artists it was a collective that tried to platforms for artists of color in Baltimore. And we held two events spotlighting artists of color in Baltimore, and a zine as well. I've made so many really great connections with the artist community through that. The Zero Zone team was originally brought together by Alethea Shin, who was a community organizer. Shout out to Alethea. I think she's done a lot of work that has impacted, the Baltimore Asian American community in the long haul, I think. It was originally an event for Pop-Up Koreatown, where a lot of the Korean businesses in Station North Arts District, they have exhibitions of different artists. And Zero Zone was part of that, and it was held at the Crown. I think once in 2016, and then 17, I believe. It was a really great time. Some of the best artists who I feel like I've known in Baltimore, I've known through that, and the whole concept was to create a platform and a collaborative space and a physical manifestation of what identity would look, feel, and sound like in a world without oppression. We held several workshops actually before having it wasn't just like a party or just a stage, I remember us trying to really be intentional and create dialogue on how I think there were themes, and the first theme was alien, and how people othered or alien, and so we held discussions, and then we had a artist showcase, and then the next was a zine, Warp and Weft. And Zero Zone, by the way, is in Korean. It's kind of an adaptation of the Korean word 공존, which means coexist. So that was the inspiration. Yeah. And the original team members were Bowman Chun, who's done a lot of really great community art work in Baltimore. Joe Lee, who has been a really, really great friend, collaborator, artist, illustrator, and Jamie Shim, who is also an artist. I believe does ceramics. That's just very talented and amazing soul. And also got Caroline Shaw, who is a filmmaker, who I've collaborated a lot with since meeting her. She's brilliant. They're all very dear to me. Have been family to kind of navigate Baltimore and the like trying to find our roles here in the artist scene too. Really great crew.
Yeah, for sure. Wow. Yeah. So, at what point? I didn't know there's a just by listening to it that like there's this whole history behind it, and then I didn't know it was a tangent off of a Korean word. When I first saw it, actually, like later when I researched, I was like, oh, it's pronounced zero zone. I actually thought it was ozone, and then
Right.
because like for example in climate change when you go up in the atmosphere, it's ozone is dangerous. So I thought it was a commentary of like society is toxic. So we create like a space away from that toxicity. But I guess that works too. My interpretation works too.
Like
So.
I welcome that interpretation. That's a really interesting interpretation. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. At what point so obviously it came out an idea raised from social awareness and trying to create space for people of color artists. But at what point did it evolve into a song that we've just heard now?
Yeah, so this song was written for the first artist showcase, and it's a concept that I've been thinking about, that I had been thinking about for a while. Like, what would it feel like there's some really pertinent lines like, let's get far away from here to a galaxy so clear from this oppressive state, and create a house with tools that the oppressors refuse to use. That's definitely like Audre Lorde influence quote. R.I.P. Rest in power. Just thinking about how it was like right after 2008 Gray uprising, like Baltimore uprising, and just trying to think about futures. What would it look like without this? What would it look and feel like without a police state oppressing and surveillance oppressing humanity as a whole, and especially our black and brown neighbors? Like, what would it look like to build a new world that didn't have that oppressive police state or white supremacy? That's what time, and that's what really came through to this song. I hope that it's still relevant because I feel like it is. It hasn't changed, and it's almost gotten worse. Like the police violence, the police surveillance, like structural violence against black and brown folks. And so I still do think that a new world, we can only hope that a revolution can happen in which, we can work to build a sanctuary together.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unfortunate with the way things are going on in the society. Obviously I'll upload this, but in case you're listening to this, like it's 2025, 2030, and then you're just listening to this old ass podcast between me and Eunbi from 2020, I'll give you a little scope what's going on. Trump is the president, and then we're undergoing coronavirus right now. Okay, that's a 2-second synopsis, but I guess even with these trialing times and how the world's gone to shit, but it makes it makes your songs, Eunbi, it makes your songs even more relevant, and then it makes the role of the musicians and artists even more relevant. And then hopefully with all the shit going on, hopefully like we'll get some good artwork out of this. I know like during the Reagan era, that in the 80s, that's when like hip hop was developed, and like punk rock too. And then I don't think it was a coincidence that
at the same time that war on drugs was like started systematically, like arresting and incarcerating Black and Asian folks. I think it was also a time where a lot of the effects of that was influencing how, like, what kind of lyrics people were writing, what kind of pain that people were expressing through music. So I wonder if this COVID era, like, there's gonna be more music that has been influenced by the political climate and the pain and sorrow and depression that people are feeling, and like anger that people are feeling. I hope that a lot of people do get angry, like and that'll help fuel us. Like, I think anger could be productive too. But anyways, that's my take.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. So, future generations, if you're listening to this, it's time for some self-promotion. If you're wondering how the Asian Americans are coping during the COVID of 2020, you can tune into the Steve Hung podcast to listen to interviews with myself, Rahul, and we've got Eunbi on the line right now, and then hopefully I can get Toyo. Hopefully I can get an interview with him. I know he's been really busy. So, I mean, earlier you're talking about how Zero Zone, I think you said you wrote that after your Zero Zone, the Crown, and then that song kind of came out of an event. But maybe I mean, this is sort of cheesy, but this is a little preview of my interview with Toyo. If he's up to it, I'm gonna ask him, because he's a rapper, a hip hop artist. I was like, Toyo, can you spit out some bars about bars? So yeah, it was just a corny joke.
I'm sure he can.
Yeah.
I'm sure they can. Like, they're brilliant. I think they're coming out with a lot of really good stuff right now, and we started collaborating on a song actually. So really, really excited for what's to come.
Yeah, for sure. So if you want to check out some of this great music that's coming out in this troubling era, tune in to the Steve Hung Show, where I interview Asian American artists, musicians that I listen to around the Baltimore area. But Eunbi, I understand that not only do you do music, but you're also involved in film too. And so I saw on YouTube you came out with this short film called Wanderer, which my interpretation of this film, it's about like finding like where you belong, or I could be totally off, but is this you got a song out of your concept of Zero Zone? Is this film also like a result of your Zero Zone concept? Because I'm thinking about creating a space, a world without oppression, where people of color artists can just create their art free of oppression. And then is that somehow tied with in Wanderer, wandering around and trying to find your community?
I think they're kind of separate. The Wanderer film was more about my journey throughout my journey of diaspora. Like I said, I was born in LA, raised in Arkansas, and then came to Baltimore for school. And throughout, it's talking about the the kind of journey of identity and trying to find a home and belonging throughout my lifetime, because there were many friends I found along the way, but also like feeling like Asian Americans feel othered a lot in many different ways. I think even within the Asian American community, I always feel there's always this Asian enough concept, or straight enough, or you have to fit this mold of model minority to kind of be accepted. And not only not model minority, but I'm Korean American, and there's always this like, are you Korean enough? Are you have you caught up to the latest trends? Like, Korea is a very fast-paced, very hyper-capitalistic country right now, and the culture kind of has, like, the modern culture has kind of morphed into that too, where it's very homogeneous, like, you have to fit a mold. I think people are starting to, and people are definitely seeing through that, and the culture is changing. But yeah, I think this is, the film is exploring different landscapes, it's capturing a lot of the landscapes that when I was a child, when I lived in LA, one of the fondest memories I have were exploring the land as a child through our road trips. Like, I think our road trips held very big significance. My family would road trip every summer, and we would go to places like Grand Canyon and like all throughout the West. And I wanted to kind of capture that as part of my journey, but also knowing that the land, home is not necessarily connected to the land, especially because we're occupying this land. This land didn't originally belong to settler colonialists. Like, we're stewarding this land. It originally belonged to Native American tribes, indigenous peoples here, and but I think it's capturing the journey of me, like going through, like, with my childhood eyes, exploring the land, but also feeling really lonely throughout it, because there haven't been many role models in media for me as a queer Asian American, non-binary folk. Like, so I think you could probably feel that it is a one-person narration. I developed the soundtrack for it too, and made sure that there are Korean instrumentation, as well as the kind of R&B. Well, not R&B. I'd say it's a little different, but you could kind of hear the influences there too. But the takeaway, I think, from the movie or the film is that home is where you make it, and it lies within you and the community that you make around you.
Yeah, for sure. So for y'all listening out there, go check out Eunbi's music, but also check out her short film. So really,
I go by they them, so there would be preferred.
Say what?
I go by they them pronouns, so.
Oh, okay.
Not
Oh, sorry. My bad.
You're good.
Yeah. Well, that's the part where I edit out. Wink, wink. Right.
I think that conversation could be, like, it doesn't have to be edited. I think it'd be cool to have it in even.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Whatever
Your
you.
editing choice, though.
Yeah. Oh. I'll leave it in. I won't cut out this part, even the part where I said that I cut out. So future people that are interviewing are more conscious of gender pronouns. But anyways, check out Envy's film Wanderer. Lots of I watched it.
Directed by Caroline Shaw.
Yeah,
Also.
yeah,
Yeah, it was directed by Caroline Shaw. Don't want to forget that because she's been a really, really amazing collaborator and has a brilliant, I think we've worked really well together and has a brilliant eye for cinematography and feel. Check her stuff out too.
yeah. There's I don't want to give too much away about the film, but lots of great shots of Envy walking through food court mall, and then I believe you're out the Joshua Tree National Park. I was there last year, so yeah, it's pretty lovely. And then also the theme of just the wandering loner. Well, I mean, it's a cliche in music of the musician. Oh, you have to find your own path, and then like doing art isn't valued, so you have to wander around. I'm the wandering musician, find my own path, but the wandering, but it works on different levels too, because not just a wandering musician, but it's also an experience of Asian Americans wandering around, the United States. Wanderer. So go check that out. But while you're checking this out, checking out Wanderer, I want to play the next song for you. And then so as the cliche in R&B music is that there's lots of love songs, lots of love songs about relationships, and then that's sort of the cliche, the stereotype, but Envy actually has a song, Switching Recipe. It's from my analysis, a song about love, relationships. So listeners, for this next song, unless you're driving, why don't you dim down the lights? You can light some candles or incense, and we'll groove out to this awesome slow track by Eunbi Kim, Switching Recipes.
It's a constant fight. When feelings come another day, we try to make it right. It's hard to say we try. When patterns stay the sacred goal, let's admit what you know. We're so afraid. Sudden change, not in control. The feelings come and go. You just give and give, and you never stop till you don't mean a thing. Turn into synopsis. Let's repeat this, our story. Do these feelings turn over love, strong, go over love on an ongoing basis. We're switching these trousers, shaking onto us. He is turning up, cannot handle these. We're switching recipes. It's a shame, thought that we'd be the same. See you alone at the gate. This time, you're not mine. Oh, wait. Physically and chemically, this contingency to blame. No trust on us. Why do these feelings turn over love? Swerve, pour over love on an ongoing basis. We're switching these trousers, shaking these shells are shaking onto us. Heat is turning up, cannot handle these switching recipes. Turn over love,
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you just listened to "Switching Recipes" by Eunbi Kim. So I've noticed, I could be completely wrong, but my analysis is that the song is about relationships, and then you use food as a metaphor for relationships. So can you tell me more about that, how you decide to use food as a metaphor for relationships?
Yeah, I think food is very important to my connection with people in general. But food, I think I find comfort in it. I find home, and I think that's what's really important for me in many kinds of relationships, including like romantic ones. Yeah, I mean, it was definitely about a particular relationship where, you know, someone was kind of switching recipes on me, like there and not there, and all the ingredients are there, the people are there, but not available. You know, like the chemistry doesn't happen, or so I think food can be used as a metaphor for home and comfort, but it doesn't always, even if you have all the ingredients, it doesn't always work out the way that you want it to, and sometimes it does. So it's kind of talking about the trials and tribulations of love. Like, I love experimenting with food in the kitchen. And I've gone through so many trials and tribulations. You could ask my roommates on how I manage to set the fire alarm off every week. And I love cooking with a cast iron skillet and turning the heat up like max, and somehow disrupting the whole house with the alarm. So, but yeah, and a lot of the ingredients in the music video are like ginger steamed buns, raw meat stew. It's kimchi stew, which is my favorite, and those are just very homey foods to me. And kimchi stew is my favorite in the world. The version that my mom made, my neighbor made, my grandma made, especially my grandma's. It's the best. I feel like I could die happy. I could take it to the grave. So those were very particularly selected food items in the music video. No mistake.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so listeners, go check out Eunbi's song, "Switching Recipe." I mean, I know all y'all listening out there, I know like food and there's a cliche of using food to describe love or relationship, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get that skillet really sizzling, or it could be sexualized too, like, oh, penis, banana, like melons, fruit, genitalia. But you know, it's Eunbi's song, I think, "Switching Recipe" uses food on another level, and you know, yeah, so go check it out.
I would like to think it's up for interpretation, you know, like just like your food, like everyone has a preference of how spicy they like it, or how hot they like a type of food. Like, it's up to interpretation, I think. Yeah, food is love. Food can be sex. Food can be, yeah, absolutely, all of that.
Yeah, for sure. So doing my research, and then that's when I discovered the music video, and then I noticed this is your you have a lot of songs out, but this is your only music video, your debut music videos for Switching Recipies. So can you tell me why for your first music video you decided to do it with Switching Recipe? Is it because again, my interpretation, I could be wrong, but obviously food is a theme, but it's also a really visual thing. So if you're making a music video out of it, you can do many interesting visual things with food if you're a filmmaker. Can you tell me more about that?
Let's see. I'm trying to think back to where when I created it. I think I created it in college, and I don't know why that was the one. I just think that of all the songs, I think that it was the most. It was one that people can kind of groove to, and I think I was pretty intentional about what kind of, like, what would be kind of a debut song, and it definitely contains my kind of like R&B, lo-fi R&B essence, and so yeah, why not? And I also really, originally I was planning for the music video actually for me to be in like a tub of ramen, which is wild. We tried doing that. It was a lot of fun, but somehow it didn't work out. Yeah, and because food, yeah, like I said, food to me is love, food to me is sex, food to me is delicious, is comfort, all of that. And I really wanted to capture that. I also think that there's a huge, like, love for food. I think it's one of the main ways that I think Korean Americans, or Koreans, or Asians in general, I feel like, and many people actually around the world, food has been a way to coping mechanism almost. I mean, it's for survival, but also a coping mechanism for a lot of trauma and wartime trauma. Also, like, a lot of foodways have developed through, like, the war times in Korea, like, U.S. introducing a lot of food products, and so I think it's very significant in my life and intergenerationally too. So yeah, why not?
Yeah, so maybe for your second music video, Take Care, maybe you can film it in a bath of ramen, and it's like, this is how I take care of myself.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, that's the form of self-care that, like, would be ideal for me, to just bathe in a bath of ramen, like, to be able to, like, slurp some noodles while being in, like, boiling water. I love Korean saunas, like, dipping into, like, the green tea. Instead of, like, the green tea tub, it would be, like, a ramen tub.
Yeah, so I know all your songs are I find connections are related. Switching Recipe, you find comfort in food. Food is how you find comfort. It's how you quote take care. The first song that we talked about, and so the songs you listened today, the three songs. There's just three of many songs that Eunbi Kim has online. So there's many more songs that we didn't get a chance to talk about today. So go check out Eunbi Kim's music online. When I was interviewing you, when I was researching you, I noticed there's there's another Eunbi Kim on the internet. Dun dun dun. And then she's a classical musician, a classical violinist or cello. I forget. But do people sometimes go to your show and they're expecting a classical performance and they're like, oh, or do you have name recognition, like trying to no, I'm the Baltimore Eunbi Kim.
Well, I just go by Eunbi, so we're a little different. I think Eunbi, I didn't know that there was another classical musician, but cheers to her. It seems like I just looked her up. Seems like she has a very successful career, so I support you. Looks like she's from New York. Yeah, but I go by Eunbi, E-N''B. That's it kind of stands for non-binary, and also, R&B. It roots from that word too, so R&B. And Eunbi is also, it's my actual Korean name, so I just thought it worked out. It speaks to my identity, it speaks to some of my influences, but also it speaks to my own cultural roots. So that's something that, I want to be firm and just kind of shine out to the world, because there isn't much clear Asian representation out there. That's who I am, Eunbi, E-N''B.
Yeah, for sure. Check, this is a cool little abbreviation, but for everyone that tuned in that was expecting an interview with the Eunbi Kim, the classical musician, I'm sorry, I apologize, but hey, hopefully you discover this cool R&B musician from Baltimore by the same name. Come check out some of her music too. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, I hope everyone is doing well in this quarantine and grooving to the music of Eunbi Kim. We just listened to 3 songs. There's a lot more songs out there. So do you have any closing remarks? And then where can we find more of your music online?
My name is Eunbi, E-N''B. I go by they, them pronouns. And I want to thank you for inviting me on this platform. You could check out my music on Spotify. It's also on Apple Music, I think. I am trying to release some new music really soon, in collaboration with V-Day, who's another artist, Korean American artist, and it's gonna be fire. So hopefully, it'll come out very soon. Look out. I'm on social media. Little Giant. Little Giant. What is it? Period. ENB. So that's littlegiant.enb on Instagram. So look out for new releases.
All right, so everyone go check out Eunbi Kim's music online. Go follow her on Instagram, on social media. I'm going to try to paste some of the social media links that she mentioned in this interview into the comments below, so look below. And so thank you for joining me for this installment where I interview Asian American artists from around the Baltimore and Maryland areas for the month of May, since May is Asian Pacific American Heritage Month. If you like what you heard, the previous interview I did, if you haven't checked it out yet, I interviewed my friend, Indo-Fusion guitarist Rahul Mukerji. So if you haven't checked that out, check out that interview. Different style of music. We just had the great Eunbi Kim, the great Baltimore R&B artist, online. I'm going to try to get Baltimore hip hop artist Toyo Mansi to get an interview with him. So he's been really busy, mad busy lately, but hopefully I'll be able to schedule an interview with him sometime this month. And also, I myself am a musician, Steve Hung. I'll be releasing some new songs towards the end of this month for Asian American Pacific Heritage Month. So, and I'll interview myself for that. So be on the lookout for that. So everyone, thanks for joining in. Thanks for listening. I hope y'all stay out safe out there during this pandemic. So remember to go ahead and remember to take care of yourself and to stock up on your vitamin C, your fluids, and your toilet paper. Thank you, and have a great rest of Heritage Month.
You know